In this video we are going to talk about the work pressures of the R600a and its main. Let's start by saying that the work pressures of the R600a are quite low. Therefore, it only makes sense to talk about pressures when we have very good quality manometers or in measuring small pressures. On the contrary, it makes no sense to measure the pressures of the R600a with conventional. For a temperature of minus 10 degrees Celsius in the evaporator, minus 10 degrees Celsius, we will a pressure of 0.007 MPa. This is equivalent to 7 kilopascals, taking it to psi 0.98 psi. They are all low pressures. For a temperature of minus 20 degrees Celsius in the evaporator, typical of freezing systems, the that will be needed in the evaporator is minus 0.03 MPa. Equivalent to minus 30 kilopascals, equivalent to minus 4.2 psi. We are going to talk about these two temperature values because the applicability of the R600a on refrigeration and freezing systems of medium and low temperature. Because when it is used at higher temperatures, the R600a begins to have less performance compared other refrigerant gases. If we want to know the high pressure of the R600a for a condensation temperature of 30 degrees, in the condenser of 30 degrees Celsius, we will have a high pressure of 0.3 MPa, equivalent to 300 kilopascals, equal to 45 psi. When the equipment is off, at an average ambient temperature of 20 degrees Celsius, we will have in manometers low and high pressure 0.2 MPa, equivalent to 200 kilopascals, equal to 30 psi. These would be the working pressures of the R600a. However, at this time it is important to say that the load of a R600a equipment must always be done weight, so as not to have problems with precision. However, the pressure and temperature tables are important because many times we have to make new condensers, then the weight that the manufacturer gives us may not be exactly the load. So there the pressures can help us know if we are leading the equipment working at the right point. The R600a refrigerant is characterized by having a very high cooling power compared to other gases. Each gram of R600a has enough capacity to absorb heat, that is, to give cooling. The drawback of R600a is that it is a flammable gas. It is a gas classified as a 3, although not. What does this mean? That the R600a has a higher flammability than all its competitors. But as the R600a is used especially in low-load equipment in the domestic sector, then the is compensated with a small load. Therefore, the danger is considerably lower because we are not going to have a lot of R600a in equipment. In addition to that, the R600a we have to understand that it is a refrigerant that has a large. That is, each gram of R600a occupies much more volume than other gases that compete with it. Therefore, the system is going to be filled with a small amount of mass, and as each mass is capable absorbing a lot of heat, then the total amount of R600a refrigerant that I have in the equipment is low compared to other gases. But this, the fact that the R600a molecule, that each gram of R600a has a large volume, involves the compressor that is going to be used also has to have a fairly large cylinder to be able to put compress in its chamber the sufficient amount of R600a that is needed. The R600a is a gas considered ecological. It is practically covering the entire domestic sector. It has a very low global heating potential of only 3. It does not damage the ozone layer. In addition, lubricant oil, any type of lubricant oil can be used. It should be noted that the viscosity usually used by compressors that work with R600a tends to be than other refrigerant gases. So, these are the main characteristics of the R600a gas that every technician should know. See you in the next class.